The Digital Circles Podcast, giving a voice to Northern Ireland's business network. Brought to you by Private Label People. With your host, Paul Mooney.
Hello everybody, welcome to the podcast. I have Bob McGoran with me today. Our sound guy Mike was talking about your business the other week and we reached out to you and you were very kind to come in and it's lovely to have you here.
Thank you.
I'll give the audience a wee bit of a background to you, personally myself, in terms of saying that you own the coffee port in Stangford and you also own Stangford Coffee Roastery.
Yep.
So that works quite well, that works hand in hand. You have the supply and the end chain there. So how did that come about? How did you get into the coffee world?
I got into the coffee world. I actually stumbled into the coffee world because it all started with my daughter, who was 15 at the time, wanted a job, but she was too young to get employment in the village. So where we're located is down beside the ferry boat, and there's always people going for the ferry boat and stopping and traffic and whatnot. And I decided to set up like a tea and coffee cart for them. And what I started off with was I bought a stainless steel unit from Henderson's.
Okay.
Henderson's Eurospar. It was like one of their corporate event kind of things, but it was for outdoor use. So I bought it and got a local coffee supplier to supply me the coffee, and he came out and had a look about and he goes, "You're going to be busy here."
Right,
you know, that kind of thing.
That's a good sign.
Jesus. And so he really helped me a lot, you know, with setting up and picking a coffee and just sort of the basics of the business. And as soon as we slid the doors open, people started walking over, couldn't believe it.
Jeez.
You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Just where it is because of the location?
Yeah, location's key.
It's key. There's a metaphor there.
Yeah, there is.
It's by the key. But where you are, it's right beside the ferry port, ferry terminal, if you like. It's not really a terminal now in Stangford, if you look at it that way, but the cars queue up there to get on, so people are waiting for probably 20, 30 minutes on the ferry coming across, and they're going, what are we going to do? And then you're there. Well, that's fantastic.
It is. It's great. You see people pulling up, and you know they're so focused on catching the ferry boat, and it's not there, so they sort of begin to look around them, and then you see them taking a double glance at us and go, "What?" Must get a coffee, and you see the door opening in the car and the dander over.
So that works really well. So first of all, you thought, well, it was your daughter needed a job. Did you give her a job?
I did.
And it worked out okay?
It worked out okay, yeah. She's still there.
Oh, well, there you go. You can't ask for more than that. And then you thought about supplying the actual, so you're going to make the coffee for people, but how do we supply it? So
we were getting really good feedback on the coffee, and I just sort of started thinking to myself, well, you know, I'm showcasing somebody else's coffee here. I should, you know, look into maybe showcasing my own coffee, because I'd always had an interest in coffee, and at the time there was only one coffee roaster for sale in Ireland, and it was actually in Dungannon, and it was a 10 kilogram coffee roaster. So that was far too big, because at the time I was thinking, I just want to roast coffee for the coffee port, nothing else. But as I say, there was only this one coffee roaster for sale, and I got in contact with the guys who were selling it, and we struck a deal. And part of the deal was that they were going to show me how to roast. So I ended up going up to Dungannon for a morning, ended up roasting 100 kilos of coffee, and it just blew my mind, like, you know. But I knew I wasn't going to learn the full trade in the morning, so I booked onto a course over in Scotland and done a 2-day 1-to-1 roasting course with a qualification, the Specialty Coffee Association, and got a qualification out of it, and then that set me on the journey. So
excellent.
When I got back home, I took delivery of the roaster and just went to work at setting it up, because I'm from an engineering background, so you know there's not much building, electrical, plumbing that I can't do. You know, I'll throw my hand to anything, and within sort of 2 weeks I was up and running. You know,
very good.
Yeah.
So you've a qualification now to say that you can do it, which is good too.
I know. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. You've brought the roaster back and you've started roasting the coffee beans.
Yeah.
What was the first one you made? Like the first batch? Did it taste okay, or did
it was actually really good. Yeah. Maybe roasted a wee bit darker than I prefer now.
Okay.
But you know, people like a dark roast. You know, but if when you're using specialty coffee, you don't want to roast it too dark. You know, you want a sort of medium roast.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what most people's palates can cope with.
Yeah.
And Mike, our sound guy, loves really strong coffee.
Yeah.
I'm sort of probably middle of the road.
Yeah.
I know nothing about coffee other than I like it when I taste it, and that's about it.
Yeah.
So in regards to, you've brought us some samples, which is nice, and I'm just looking at one, but so Guatemala. So what's the sort of difference between the roasts? Have you...
Well, I tend to, because my coffee is a specialty coffee, and I've no overheads. I can buy the best quality coffee I can sort of get my hands on, and they're all roasted medium level, which is like a caramelly brown color.
Okay.
You know, not as dark as some of the darker roasts you would see, which are almost like black. Mm-hmm. But when you were saying about Meg's likes his coffee strong, there's actually no difference in strength between a medium roast and a dark roast.
Okay.
And people think a dark roast is stronger, but it's actually just more burnt, so you get a stronger flavour out of it. And the reason the likes of your Starbucks and Costa and whatnot, they have like a dark coffee, it's usually a very heavily dark roasted coffee, is they're actually roasting it beyond the level so that it's hiding a lot of the nuances and defects in the coffee. Okay. So I try and roast it medium to bring out the best in the coffee, but roast level wise, it's it's the same caffeine amount in the coffee. Like, it never changes.
Well, the thing that I like about it is when you run out of coffee, you've only yourself to blame. So and you can sort that pretty quickly, which is good.
Can indeed, yeah.
The supply chains, it's quite straightforward there.
Yeah.
How did it work whenever you first? So you had the coffee shop going at that point. Whenever you started roasting, how did that work in terms of, because you said the doors are already open, people are coming in and looking for it probably quicker than you thought they would, and there was more demand there. Was it just you and the daughter at that point, or?
Well, it was myself, my daughter and my son, and my wife sort of occasionally helped as well.
Right,
Yeah.
Team effort,
yeah. And then we get all my friend, he's got 4 kids, so the manpower was always there. Very good. So a couple of his kids working it too. And
Excellent. Yeah. You've brought a wee bit of entrepreneurial spirit to the shores of Stangford there, and that's good. How do you find working with family?
That's grand. It's grand.
Good.
That's grand. Yeah.
Do you keep it quite straightforward in terms of what you do? I know it's basically you live right there.
Yeah.
And so obviously you do the coffee. Do you do anything else? Like, do you tray bakes or?
Yeah, we do tray bakes, and we get them from a local supplier in Belfast.
Okay.
It's more cost effective and in time and money, just to get somebody else to supply them, and they're actually really nice. They're really good. We do tea as well. We do Barry's tea from Cork because my wife is from Cork.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
right,
and she's a big fan of it. And we do like milkshakes and hot chocolates and whatnot as well. Yeah,
that's your
coffees.
Covering all markets there.
Yeah.
My kids would have been raging if I'd have pulled up and I'm getting a coffee and they're looking at me going, "What am I going to get?" Because I don't drink coffee. So you do milkshakes as well.
Let's face it, we're all winners. For your chance to win fantastic prizes from our rolling monthly competition, just head on over to digitalcircles.click/give or follow the link in the description.
Kids now are starting to get into more, like my eldest daughter loves these iced coffees and things you get now too. Yeah. So it's good for a sunny day, which you get now and again in Stangford.
Yeah.
What I really like the idea of where it is, because I think that's, a lot of people when they start a business, they think about, right, where's my premises going to be?
Yeah.
You've literally just, where your house is perfect, and then you put that on there, and it's serving that clientele base that are coming and they're sitting there and they're looking right at you.
Yeah, exactly.
And did you feel early on any sort of pressure with it, with people constantly coming to the window maybe quicker than you anticipated?
Yeah, you do get a queue building up because making a proper coffee in a proper machine does take time. It takes maybe a minute and a half to make a coffee. By the time you steam the milk, grind the coffee, tamp the coffee, put it into the machine, and get the milk steamed and pouring it. Like, so you do get a queue sort of forming a lot of the time.
And the ferry pulls up.
Yeah, and then the ferry pulls up, and people do walk away.
I'm sure
and a lot of the time you would get people, they mustn't think about the ferry until they're actually ordering the coffee, and then there's eyes on the ferry, eyes back on us, eyes on the ferry, and then eyes back on us, and it's like back and forward, and then they're like, "Is this going to be ready?" You know,
take as long as it takes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can't rush quality.
You'll have to. What you should do? You get a wee mobile one and put it on the ferry.
Yeah. Well,
you go just direct them to it.
Talked about, so it has.
Excellent. No, and before you started the coffee business, what was your background? Engineering?
Yeah, engineering. I'm a fully time served electrician.
Okay.
And for the last sort of 17 years, I was working in the railways in Belfast, fixing trains.
Okay.
You know, and so. But I've always had a hand, and my dad was an electrician as well, and I used to help him out when I was a kid, and I can do a bit of plumbing. I can do, I like getting into technicalities of things like so the roaster. When I bought the roaster, actually fitted temperature probes to it. Mm-hmm. One for bean temperature and one for exhaust temperature, which you can plot on a laptop, so I can get consistency in the roast. Whenever I'm doing a roast, to try and keep it the same. Every roast.
Engineering's led you well down that path. That's serving you well. Yeah. Are you one of these people in Stangford that everybody knows and they go, "My sink's broken, so I'll get Bob to come." By the way, would you bring me a coffee as well, Bob?
I try to stay away from it. Sort of.
And are you from Stangford?
I am originally. Yeah.
Okay.
We moved down to Stangford when I was, I think I was 1 year old. And mum and dad had a shop in Stangford.
Okay.
In the early 80s, So yeah.
It's a small place.
It is.
But it's a small community, but I'm sure everybody's. I'm sure you get your fair share of locals here, coming down as well and sampling what you do, and that's excellent. Obviously, you're right on the sea.
Yeah.
Have you any hobbies that involve the water?
I do. I love all water sports, diving, kite surfing, sailing. You name it. If it's on the water, I'll do it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And you have a boat, I believe.
I do. I do have a sailing boat. I bought it maybe 2 or 3 years ago. But again, I've always sailed. My dad had a very small sailing boat, and then, the bug never bit me until sort of he had passed away. And then I got my own boat.
And where's the furthest you've taken it to? Portaferry?
Yeah. How did you know?
That would do for me.
No, we went down to the Scilly Isles last year, myself and a friend. And I done a bit of a flotilla. There was a couple of other guys. One went as far as Kilmore Quay in the south of Ireland, and the other guy, he went on to France. France was the end objective, but the way the winds were blowing and stuff, and my boat's a bilge keel, which has got 2 keels that can dry out anywhere.
Yep.
I thought it would be really good to go to the Scilly Isles, so we left Kilmore Quay, and I think it was like 37 hours later we arrived in the
Straight run?
Straight run, aye.
Wow.
Yeah, it was great.
Did you experience any very choppy weather? Or?
No, the weather was actually fine. There was plenty of wind. There was enough wind to get us down there. There's a separation zone, which is where it's like a bit of a highway in the sea for like big container ships that come up, and we had to sort of skirt along the edge of it. But I'd say the most challenging part of it was when it got dark. There was like fishing boats came from everywhere. And it just looked like they were all coming directly towards us, so that was a bit hairy.
Yeah.
But, once we realised we were in no danger, we just sort of kept on.
I know Kilmore Quay well. I got stormbound in Kilmore. My dad had a boat and we went down south, and we had the end objective of wanting to get to France as well.
Yeah.
But the weather wasn't good, and we got stuck in Kilmore Quay for about 5 days. It's a small place too.
It is. There's not much in it.
No. There was a decent chippy, I think, and there was a pub, which we were in most nights, every night, to be honest. And I think we then went round to Waterford and up the river into Waterford, and that was it. We had to go back up the coast. But no, sailing brings you a lot of it takes your mind away from the stresses. So to get out on the water in the fresh air, it takes your mind away.
Yeah.
Have you a lot of early mornings with the business? Do you tend to have to start early with the ferry there, or?
Yeah, no. Well, see, at the minute we only open the weekends at the coffee port.
Okay.
And I maybe roast maybe twice a week.
Okay.
And within them two, and I usually roast in the evening time. So I can get everything else done during the day. So. Yeah, no, there's no pressure.
Okay.
That's the actual objective of owning my own business is no pressure.
Okay. And the roasting process, how you say you do it in an evening? What are you talking, a few hours? Or?
Yeah, well, it's a few hours. So it's a 10 kilogram roaster, and the maximum capacity of a 10 kilogram roaster is 8 kilograms.
Okay.
So 8 kilograms is a fair amount of coffee, and I can do that in about 15 minutes.
Right.
You know, and then you let the roaster sort of cool down a bit. You let the actual coffee that you've roasted cool. You can get it bagged up straight away, and then you continue on with another roast. So maybe 2-3 hours roasting, and I can do like 40, 50 kilos.
Very good.
Yeah.
And is there any coffee companies out there that you sort of look at, you know, likes of cafes and things, and you think they're very good at what they do? Or is there, like, obviously you've got your big chains like Costa and Starbucks and places like that, but there's quite a lot of coffee shops now, especially around Belfast.
Oh, there is,
some of them are doing some very good stuff. You've kept it simple, but
we're like the roasting has come secondary to the coffee port, and the coffee port was just, you know, like I said, it was a job for the kids, you know, something for them to do to get the summer in. And it was during lockdown as well, you know, so but because it was so busy and successful, you know, we've been going through nearly 4 years now with the coffee port, and 2 years with the roasting. Yeah, there's loads of good coffee shops out there, you know.
Don't forget, for your chance to win fantastic prizes from our rolling monthly competition, just head on over to digitalcircles.click/give or follow the link in the description.
With the roasting side of things, there's potential for you to supply, I take it, into other shops.
Yeah. Well, at the minute,
cafes as well.
We've got 18 retail shops that we supply.
Oh, very good.
And I can't say too much about it, but I've got a deal with a major supermarket at the minute, and I can't say too much because I have to do pressing all next week for it.
Oh, right.
You know, so
what's the space?
It's going to be getting into every one of these supermarkets in Ireland. So it's like 230 stores.
Okay.
In September.
Excellent.
I know, it's great.
Excellent.
It's great news.
That's taking you into a whole new stratosphere. Are you
is.
going to be able to cope okay with the supply of that?
Yeah.
You have to look at premises, or
well, where we are at the minute is good. I could probably hold about 2 ton of coffee there at the minute, and that's plenty. Like, you know, so I think the only issue is going to be getting it on the pallets and getting it out the door. You know, that's going to be the issue. We're sort of stuck for space because of the coffee port and trying to navigate around it. But I've measured out a Euro pallet, and we can just squeeze it past. Yeah.
And in regards to having to bring anybody else, will you be able to cope with it personally?
Yeah, well, there's going to be myself, my daughter, and my nephew. My nephew, he's a nurse, and he doesn't really like nursing, so he says he's going to come down and give me a hand a few days a week, so I'm going to get him trained up on how to roast.
Excellent.
Yeah, he's very excited about that.
I really like what you've done, because I just think it's, well, you like you say, you sort of created it for your daughter, for your kids, and now they're involved in it, and it's going really well, and people are using it and enjoying it. And say Mike, our sound guy, he loved it, and loved the simplicity of it, but also it's just the location. Look, I keep coming back to location. I think it's superb.
Location is key. You know, it's without the location, it either makes or breaks a business.
Yeah. And you've some other great businesses in Stangford, actually. The likes of the Queuing and the Lobster Pot there, and places like that. So it does get for the size of the town, it's only very, very small, but it does get a good reputation.
And there's the Artisan as well.
Artisan I've heard good things about.
Really nice food.
Have to try it.
Very good food.
And it's a real pretty wee place, Stangford, when you look at it, and you get on a nice summer's day. Of course. That's lovely.
Yeah.
In regards to the future, obviously you've done that with the roasting side of things.
Yeah.
And that's gonna take you somewhere I'm sure you never envisaged.
No. See, coffee. Like I know a lot of people in the industry now, and anybody you speak to, they fall into the industry. You know, they either started as a barista or maybe, you know, worked in like a bakery or something like that. Like, and there's actually one guy, I'll not mention his name. He's from Belfast, and he's one of the top roasters in the UK. And I actually got him down to do a bit of consultancy work for me at the start. And he told me that the only reason he applied to work for this coffee roastery was he was going to get his forklift license out of it.
Right.
You know, and I thought that was a fantastic story. You know, he wanted to drive a forklift, but now he's one of the top roasters in the UK. You know, really well respected. I'll tell you off air who he is.
I know someone else who actually started off as a solicitor, and she ended up going down, and she's a number of coffee shops in Belfast now. And just didn't like the law game, or, you know, just didn't feel that it was giving her what she wanted out of life, and she ended up getting involved in the coffee industry and lives and breathes it, and has done very, very well with it.
It is a fascinating industry. We went to the London Coffee Show last year, myself and the guy that supplies the Colombian coffee, and I just blew my mind how people are so focused on it, and like really get into it. And I think I have a bit of that personality when I like something, I'll go for it, and get really focused and obsessed by it, and if I don't like it, it just sort of slides off the radar.
It's a huge, as you say, it's a really attractive industry. It's huge, and people get really passionate about their coffee.
Yes, but and at every level as well. Like you've got your roasters and you've got your baristas and just general cafe owners and whatnot. But they're all to a certain level mad into it. But it is an addictive substance.
To some people more than others. I try to limit my coffee exposure, if you like, to 1 to 2 cups a day, but there's times you feel like you want some more. It's also the fact that you've got to deal with suppliers. Do you have good relationships with them?
Very good relationship with them, especially the Colombian supplier. He actually, he's a friend of mine now, but I'd say about a year and a half ago, I got a cold call from him saying, look, I'm a green bean supplier. I'm going to be in the area. Would you fancy meeting up and we'll talk about, retailing some beans off you? And I said, yeah, come on down, we'll have a chat. So he came down, and as it turned out, he was from Dublin, living in Ballynahinch, and his wife is Colombian.
Right.
And his wife is from a family of 19, and they actually own coffee plantations in Colombia, which is amazing, So,
geez, that's some contact.
Yeah, it's great. Like, so I'm getting my coffee bags from Colombia, coffee sacks, Colombia with Stangford coffee roasters printed on them and whatnot. And we've got a great relationship now. Like, they come out sailing with me and whatnot, and we've been to a few different shows together. And I'm actually planning on going over to Colombia maybe next year. I've run out of time this year. But because they do origin trips where they bring you to the farm, they bring you to the plantations, bring you to the processing plant, and you get a real good understanding of the whole process, So her brothers actually own, like, I think it's 3 of the brothers have farms, and they're so remote and up in the mountains that you have to get there by horseback. Right. It sounds really interesting.
I can't let it go by. You said my Colombian supplier, which I can't let that pass by.
The Colombian contact.
Some people will be thinking something else. But also with that, what I really like is that she obviously has her family's there, so you can, because there's a lot of people speak about coffee and where it comes from, and perhaps people the trade not being fair and them not getting paid enough, but actually that's a really nice thing that you have a personal contact there who has a family and you know that it's being done the right way.
Yeah, definitely. I struck lucky, talking to him and meeting up with him, because I could have said no on the phone and, I'm okay, I get my beans from such and such, but, he came out and he had a chat, and like I say, I'm hopefully going over to Colombia maybe next year. But the thing that sold it to me for going to Colombia was he was telling me that part of the origin trip to do a pub crawl on horseback. That sounds great.
It does sound. I don't know where it starts to get dangerous at 6 or 7 pints. The horse might not take too kindly to the way you're handling it. But also with Stangford, you're right on the cusp of Game of Thrones set and all that sort of stuff. Do you ever get people coming down? Because I know the Q have one of those doors. The Game of Thrones.
They do indeed.
Do you ever get like people from America or anything coming in and purchasing a bag of coffee?
Yeah, right? I actually got this was last year. There was a lady, an American lady, came and she ended up buying, I think it was 20 bags of coffee. And my wee lad was working that day, and he came running into the house and he goes, Dad was sold 20 bags of coffee there. And I was like, holy smokes, I couldn't believe it. Like, and as it turns out, only a few months ago, I joined the RNLI, and one of the guys in the RNLI, we were at a dinner, and his wife was American, and she was like, "Oh, you're the guy that does the coffee. My mum bought 20 bags last year, So and she brought them all to America, and people were loving it.
Okay, yeah, and just that's very interesting. You're a volunteer for the RNLI too.
Yeah.
Okay, out in the lifeboat. Is it
the
Portaferry lifeboat?
Portaferry lifeboat, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and you only started that last year?
Yeah, well, about 3 months ago. So I'm still actively involved in the training.
Okay.
And making my way through it.
How you find that?
Great, really good.
Is that I'm just what I visualise it is the pager or something going,
Yes,
and you run out of the
mid-roast.
coffee shop and leaving everybody just in the. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, gotta go.
That could be hurry enough, I would say. Running out, and some of the weather you get in the
Yeah,
REC.
yeah,
I hope
yeah.
you're prepared for that.
That guy. Yeah, yeah.
No problem, said you.
No problem. Hopefully, it's just getting over there in time, you know. But I haven't been on a shout out yet. I've just been doing training and whatnot. And I'm actually going to the pool in August, I think it is.
Okay.
And we're doing the full lifeboat training. You know, where they hoist the lifeboat up, they drop it into the water, they turn it over, and we have to get out of it and then get the engine started again. Like, so that'll be good crack.
And this is like a rigid inflatable lifeboat, is it just, or is it?
No, it's one of the bigger ones.
Oh, right,
you know,
okay.
The big ones, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
More rather you than me. In regards to having a coffee with somebody, sitting down having a coffee, if you could think of somebody that you would love to sit down and have a coffee and a chat with, is there anybody that springs to mind? Have you any heroes or people that you would love to have a chat with?
Jim Morrison.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Jim
Okay.
Morrison.
We're talking about doors a minute ago, but
Yes.
that's very different. Okay.
Yeah. He's an interesting character.
I'd
You
say-
know, big fan.
I'd say Jim would want more than coffee.
I would. Maybe the Colombian.
Exactly. You'd have to introduce him to your Colombian supplier, I'd say. Yeah, no, that's interesting. You're in the music then. You couldn't be a Doors fan, not be in the music.
I think it's just from the teenage years, you know.
Right, okay.
Yeah, read a few books, read a few autobiographies and whatnot. You know, he was an interesting character, to say the least.
It definitely was. I think we've got more and more of a picture into your life as we've went through, Bob. But listen, thank you. It's great that you come in and you brought us 3 bags of coffee, which I know will go down very well. They'll go down very quickly too in here.
Good.
So I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
But
not a bother.
I say best of luck with everything.
Thank you.
The contract you've got there sounds amazing. That's going to could even be life changing for you. So you know,
Hopefully.
excellent.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I just think it's superb. You've started it as almost like a wee hobby, trying to help your kids out.
Yeah.
And for them going forward for the rest of their lives, hopefully that's something that they can still be part of.
It's been an education.
I would say so. I'd say so. But Bob, thank you so much.
Not a bother.
Speak to
Thank
you soon.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Bye.